May I be a guard for those who need protection, a guide for those on the path, a boat, a raft, a bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles. And for the boundless multitudes of living beings, may I bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and sky, until all beings are freed from sorrow and all are awakened. May the children of the world grow constantly in spiritual awareness and peace consciousness. May more and more young people each day find the wisdom of simply being and awakening. I was quite moved by that last few lines for the children, because for me that kind of sums up what SACRE is all about, really. It's enabling the children to grow constantly in spiritual awareness and peace consciousness. So we'll sort of keep that in the back of our minds as we go through the agenda. So I'm moving on to the minutes of the last meeting. Has anybody any queries on the last minutes on page 1?
Yeah, can I just ask? It says John Rawson gave an update on Natre and Natras. I wasn't quite sure what Natras was.
No, neither am I.
So,
but I thought you would know. So that's
well, I know Natre, but I didn't know Natras.
Okay, thank you. Page 2. Page 3.
Sorry, just going back. Sorry, can I just go back to number 4?
Yeah.
The last bullet point on number 4 said Joan Furlow. Is that Joan? Is that a Joan Furlow? Or is that Joan Furlong?
Furlong, yes. Well spotted.
Sorry, I was just checking it was the right person.
Yeah, it is Joan Furlong. Yeah, we'll just talk about that a bit further down. Thank you. We need people like you, John.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Shown on Reddit.
Is everybody happy that we agree these are minutes are a true record? Yes, no?
Yes. Yep.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay then. One item, well, 2 items outstanding actually. One is for clarification. Visits to the synagogues. Is there anything to report on that?
Really
Kathy?
slow. The only, I confess, I'm not sure exactly if I can remember what I was doing, except for we do have link names, and the best contact link is through our admin at BPS, which is for the Progressive Shul, and then another link. So yes, I can definitely send you the 2 link names for the Progressive Synagogue and for at least one of the Orthodox synagogues to see how one can link in, because they do have schools programs.
Yeah,
so that's my bad. I should have done that before.
No, don't worry. Thank you. November was a long time ago, it seems.
Yeah, I was checking I had the right minutes, to be perfectly honest.
In the minutes, it says about how, you may be able to answer this for me, Mary, because I think it was something that we found out about at your school when we met there, about Vox Pop at the beginning of meetings. Is that we were going to ask schools to send us a little dialogue between children on a topic or something? Or have I got that wrong? Michelle?
I think we might have got our wires crossed there. I thought it was with reference to us doing something for the conference.
Yes, that's
Okay.
right.
Because
Good.
we were very impressed, if you remember, listening to what Mary's students were saying.
Absolutely.
Because they spoke with such clarity and maturity. So I think that's what that was
Okay.
referring to.
Thank you. So any sign of a pin digit yet? No? Okay,
unless she's waiting. But Jane's might be able to see if she's waiting at all. No.
No, I can't see her in the gallery. I'm just looking down my list now. That normally pops up with let somebody in, but there's nobody there at the moment. If not, try and invite her in, see if it'll invite her in when we get to that
Okay.
item.
I'll think I'll carry on with the agenda then and see what happens. Okay, everybody happy with that?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I put on reporting on RE in school and SACRE members' visits. It's something that we ideally would like to be able to do, but I think it doesn't really need saying, but schools are having a really difficult time at the moment through COVID and things like that. So arranging things is incredibly difficult, and equally we don't want to put pressure on staff either. So we haven't really sort of done much work on that at the moment, but we're hoping perhaps, I would say, come that September at the latest, that we might have a programme going. And I was just having a quick chat to Michelle before we came on, and she was suggesting we might have twilights. Would people be able to attend a twilight visit if we were able to arrange it? By twilight, we're thinking about 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Or to fit in with other people.
Yeah.
Can I just clarify? My understanding of that is that SACRE going mob-handed. My understanding of that was that we might adopt a school each and organise visits like that, or is it?
That is
so.
Correct. We're not
So which
going
of those
en
two is it?
masse. We're not going en masse to a school, no. No, I mean that would be the ideal ultimate situation, Tim, that it would be great if we could adopt a school or two in the future.
Okay. Well, it's easier to organise if there are fewer people going.
Well, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, and in general, I can do twilight sessions. It just depends on the day in my diary.
Yeah, okay. There's not many of us who aren't teachers actually tonight, are there?
No, Jackie, I'm just trying to find Pindigit's phone number.
Okay.
And right. And would you believe it? I have her job title, her address for the Wolverhampton University, but I do not have a phone contact. I'm sorry. On any of the emails.
Oh.
I do apologise.
Someone Google it.
Well, I would suggest phoning the university at 6:15 in the evening. Might mean there's nobody there, because I don't know I don't know how much of the students are in an evening. I'm very sorry. I didn't realise I didn't have anything other than her address. Yeah. Colleagues, my apologies.
I mean, she has been in touch with us, hasn't she, in the last few days? So I'm a bit surprised, really. Anyway,
I'll drop her a quick email and just see if she responds to that. Maybe she's struggling to access, and maybe I can ask her if she's got a phone number. We can join her by phone if necessary. So I'll do that. So if I'm looking away, that's what I'm doing.
Okay. I don't think there's anything else much to say on reporting on RE at the moment then, is there, Michelle?
Could I just add a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
What in the back of my mind, what I thought we'd want is a couple of things. We'd want some SACRE members who would like to go into a school. I thought it would be helpful if I suggested some questions and some lines of inquiry, so that, because we'd want to have some sort of consistency about what we wanted to look for and what our findings were going to be shaped around, because we need to be able to have an idea, not for punitive reasons, but actually in order to see, as a SACRE, you know, how well we're doing and who's doing what. I am asking every time I go into a school whether they're using the agreed syllabus, and that's usually yes. And the only school that wasn't was one of the Catholic schools, because they've got their own syllabus that they have to follow. So therefore, the idea of the twilights would be you'd have a bit of training, and we would start small with a couple of 4 schools perhaps who would be willing to let us try it out, so we could try the methodology and see how it was, with a view to rolling it out.
Okay. Tim?
Yeah, can I suggest, I don't know if this might make the scheduling more difficult, but if we asked for one of the governors of the school in question to join the visit, that would perhaps join the dots a little bit between the governors of the school, the RE staff, and SACRE.
I think that's a brilliant idea, Tim, because when I do my quality assurance visits, I do invite governors to join us, because at the end of the day, they've got to talk to Ofsted, and they've got to be clear, and they've got to challenge, as you know, because I know you're a governor in a school, at least you were, they've got to be able to challenge heads about the breadth of the curriculum and the balance, and it is a statutory requirement that they teach RE, and it's also a statutory requirement, as we all know, that they use the agreed syllabus unless they're a faith school. So I think that's a really good suggestion, because that would help governors as well.
Thanks, Tim. Veronica? Veronica, you are mute. I'm sorry, Veronica, we still can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Did I hear right? You want to, when you have the visits, have a governor present. Most schools have a link governor for RE. So is that the person you're talking about? Because it would be more beneficial to have the link governor for that subject.
Good point. Thank you. You make a note of that, Jane. Thank you. Any other comments?
I know we had a link governor many years ago, but I've no idea who it is now. So that's a question I'll ask.
Okay, thank you.
Because most governors are linked to curriculum subjects, and also perhaps they do health and safety and other things as well. But usually you have a curriculum governor.
Yeah.
So it might be appropriate that if there is such a person at the school, perhaps some people don't have them. But I'm a member now of Prisley Academy. I'm not a director anymore, so I don't know who. For instance, I don't know who actually has the subject, because just we oversee the running of the school. I oversee the running of the school now with a couple of other members. But also my 21 years of experience of being a governor, that's usually the case for primary schools anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we have in our school, we've got different teams. We have like a wellbeing team, and each team has a link governor to it. So that governor covers the subjects within that team. So I know in primary we have got one.
Yeah, we have one as well. We have Steph Worrell, who's joined our governing body from Telford Minster, who's also liaising with me about RE.
Thank you. Okay, Michelle.
Would you like me to move on to the conference?
No, because it's John next.
Oh, my apologies.
The only thing is, I'm wondering if John might be in the middle of speaking and a Pinderjit might turn up, and that wouldn't be fair, really, would it? But we can do the itemised.
That's okay, I can keep it short.
Can you? Go on then.
Hi everybody, I was just asked to report tonight about work on NATRE. Those of you who don't know, NATRE is the National Association of Teachers of RE. It's a professional body is working to support those who teach and lead in RE in schools. It was formerly the Professional Council of RE, but is now NATRE, and it works in association with RE Today services and the RE Council as well. It works through two ways. It first of all works through a website that provides a whole load of resources and membership packages. You have to subscribe to it. And I recommend that as just a good practice for RE teachers, they are members of it. It's not too much to subscribe, because you then get a whole load of discounts on resources. You get downloadable resources you can access, and a lot of professional consultation and information. The second way is that they work through a network of local groups. They around the country, they've got about 320 local groups around the UK and abroad. And we've now set up a Telford and Wrekin NATRE group, which we haven't had before, and they were very excited about a group appearing in Telford. Well, I just had confirmation of that today. I initially set it up to link with the primary network meetings that we have in Telford for RE teachers. Yeah. But obviously talking to Mary is whether it would be an opportunity for secondary and primary RE teachers to network together, or whether we'd have two separate groups. Once we have a group, then we're provided with a whole load of access to resources and information that we can use. We get a termly newsletter. We get national updates. We have information on RE courses and conferences around the country, competitions and awards. It helps towards the RE quality mark. And we get an RE professional development PowerPoint to share regularly as well. So being affiliated with that, we get all the national support from the NATRE group. So we set up that group, and I'll organise the meeting of teachers to come and join in that. It's open to anybody to come and join in. You don't have to be a member, but then we do get access to all the resources that come with it. It's just about for teachers who wish to meet to share good practice of RE, but it can be attended by anybody who wants to share in those things. And then we get access to the website. We have discounts on some of the resources. There's lots of free resources that are then put on the website for members that we can share around with teachers as well through that group. So that group's now been set up, and it's supported by RE Today. So we get all the teaching materials that RE Today provide on their website, and access to their curriculum resources. I've already started to download lots of resources that are available on that website that you can use in school, and links that they provide. Yeah, so we've now got our Telford and Wrekin NATRE group, which I'll send out information to teachers, and hopefully it can run. It'll be the same meeting as we've been having the network meetings in Telford for the primary teachers, but it'll just have the support of the additional resources and training that they provide.
Okay, Michelle.
I was just thinking, listening to John talking, and one of the important things, of course, is that we keep our eye on the ball nationally and not just what we're doing within the borough. Would it be helpful if John would be prepared to do it, to be a standing agenda item to keep SACRE up to date with anything we need to be informed about?
Of course, yeah, because one of the things RE Today likes to do through their consultancy is to advise SACREs. I mean, they do provide a SACRE support, but it is about raising the national agenda and representing RE on the national discussions and debates. So yeah, I certainly can update anything I get through from NATRE to the SACRE team.
Tim?
Yeah, and could you send details of how people can find out about the local NATRE group around to members of SACRE? Because I know that sometimes things get lost through schools, so perhaps the more kind of avenues in, the better. Yeah,
I've had a flyer through today for setting up local group meeting, which I've edited and created for our group, so I can email that round to everybody.
Thank you. That's great. Can I ask, do you think that SACRE should join RE Today?
There is a fee attached to their consultancy. They did offer to come and consult when I first asked about the agreed syllabus, and it's quite expensive for the consultation, but they do provide SACRE support, and I can find out about. They can attend, they can prepare and attend SACRE meetings, they can support the clerk of the the SACRE. They can consult with schools as well.
Okay, could you find out? Well, could I go on their website? I suppose I could find out how much
Yeah,
it is to join.
there'll be a SACRE link there on there. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Could I
Can you
ask one? Initially, could we, if you included secondary, because we were starting off, weren't we? You know, developing the transition units,
Yeah.
etc. So if we started off and then see how it goes, and if we get secondary people obviously interested, we could have a splinter group.
I'll set up a meeting and I'll send the flyer out to all schools and everybody on this council, and then whoever attends, we'll see who turns up.
Where are you meeting?
I've initially offered our school.
Right. Okay. And it's sort of after school, isn't it? Obviously.
It'll be an after-school meeting. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Jane, could you put that for an action for me as well to follow that up? Thank you. Any questions for John? Any other questions? Thank you, John, for being prepared to do that. That's really helpful.
It's good to get it started, and I think it will help support the network meetings that we have already in Telford. Yeah,
absolutely. So you're still doing those at the moment, and are they with, gosh, his name's gone out of my mind.
James has been hosting those for us every term. So we'll try and link the two together. I'll communicate with James about making them the same sort of thing. Okay. Better to have one meeting rather than
absolutely. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, then, should we move on to item 7, which is actually just before we do that, may I ask, would you object if I added one item in the place of any other business? It's just to talk about finance in just a short few minutes. Is that okay with everybody?
I'm afraid I will probably be gone by that time, Jackie. But if you need me to do anything if you need anybody to speak to the council regarding finance, I will do it like I did last time when we got the finance for all the regions.
Okay, that's lovely. It's just I want to raise the issue of finance and hope to have some sort of budget paper for the next meeting. Okay?
Yes, because the budget will be in March. The council budget will be in March. March the 3rd is the next council meeting, and that's usually when they do the budget.
Okay, thank you for that. I hope you've had a nice time with your daughter.
Absolutely. When we just put her back onto the train at Wolverhampton, we picked her from Wolverhampton, and so she should be arriving at Euston in about 10 minutes, and her husband's going to pick her up.
Good, good.
Because we're going to have a happy event in April.
Oh, congratulations! That's
and you know, because you've known Isabella since she was a very small girl.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely.
So we won't see her now till after the happy event.
Fantastic! I'm so pleased for you.
It's lovely, and she won't mind me telling you.
Okay. Right. Okay then, Michelle. Item 7. Oh no. Yes, that's the right one. All right. There's 2 conferences. I'm getting confused. Item 7, please.
Right. This is the student conference, isn't it? Yeah. That's right, because I appear to be working off the wrong agenda. Right. Colleagues, I brought to your attention my intention that my intention was that we were going to have a conference for youngsters, and in our weekly newsletter on Thursday, the invitation goes out to schools. Basically, the title of the conference is "Every one of us has the power to make changes and make them now." And all being well, the idea is that we're offering this conference free to years 6, 7, 8, 10 and 12. I'm not including years 9, 11 and 13 because of the pressure of examinations in our schools. And I have what I want them to be able to do is 2 things. I want them to be able to have a talk about climate change and the science behind climate change, supported by our 6 main faiths, talking about how the faith view about looking after the planet and other people, and what it is, and what we mean by needs and wants. At the end of it, I would like each school or each group to come up with a pledge about how they were going to respond to reducing their carbon footprint. So far, I've got a couple of invitations waiting to hear about the university doing the input about the science of climate change, and I've got most of the faith speakers lined up. I'm envisaging that the faith talk will be about 20 minutes and around half an hour with the science behind climate change, and then time for groups to feedback, because they'll go around. They will split up so that each school will have representatives in each faith group. They will then come back and talk about what faith says about responsibilities towards others and the planet, and then they'll work together to come up with at 12 o'clock a pledge of some sort regarding that. I'd like the conference to be free, and that's my intention, and we're going to do it over Teams. I have no idea what the response will be like. I have no idea whether it'll fall flat on its face, because I haven't done anything like this. I'm very keen that we've got students doing it, because I want them to have a chance to listen to faith leaders and to the science. And also it's an opportunity for them to develop their speaking and listening skills. As a pre-teach tool, I'm going to be sending into them a copy, the link for the David Attenborough Climate Change, the Facts BBC programme, and supported with a glossary of terms to help understanding. In one sense, it's quite ambitious, because I want the year sixes to listen to the same talk as Key Stage 3, 4 and 5. This is because, in my view, I think actually our year 6 pupils are quite mature, and we go through a sort of intellectual decline in one sense at Key Stage 3 when they become interested in things that I don't want them to be interested in. But actually, I think at the end of Key Stage 2, we've got that's a good time to capture their imaginations and their hearts. So that's what I've planned. It's going to go ahead, I hope, on the 23rd of March. I've mentioned to Jackie, if we don't have enough takers, we could postpone it to the summer. But I'm very aware that in May, of course, we have the SATS papers. So I thought this was a chance to boost speaking and listening and general oracy skills before they come to do their SATS papers, which is really important for some of our most deprived youngsters. Mary, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, can we include year 9, please?
Yeah, we can include year 9. The reason I didn't was in some schools they do the options and there's quite a bit of pressure, but I'm very happy to include year 9.
They do choose options, but that's equally a good reason for doing it.
Okay, yeah, we'll include those. I'll send out an addendum. It won't go out now until after half term. But yes, we'll include that. Well, quite honestly, see if you as a school say, actually, Michelle, can we send our year 5s? I'm very happy to do that. I'm hoping that the quality of the
watch that every year group watches news around one morning a week during form time, and they actually did include children very young and also children in high school, and they were giving their views and saying why climate change was important, what it was doing to where they lived. It was from children from all over the world, and what they could do to help, improve things. So it was all age groups. I have a year 10, and they certainly listen to it and enjoy it. So have a look at Newsround and what they do, because they do. They go right. It's whatever's in the news that particular day. But there was a big thing.
Yeah, so this will be before Christmas, because COP26 was October, November time. Right.
Yeah, if you look at the current ones, any of the days, you'll see it's a variety of things that it's very, very good.
Excellent.
It's all age groups.
Yep. Thank you for that, Mary. I will.
May I ask a question?
Yes. Please do, Veronica.
Yeah, because I think this is vital that children know what is happening in the world. Obviously, it's vital that they know. and it's their future that's at stake if we don't do something about it and bring down the temperatures throughout the world. And it's the whole world working together that's vital in all of this. And the children will have information, and they will have ideas, but they have to be realistic ones that they can put in place. Because reading through this, I was thinking that what the strategies that they were going to be asked to relate to make a difference to their local area could be put into practice. That's my reading of this. And I don't want them to be in a position where they are disappointed if they come up with all these ideas and strategy that they cannot be put into practice, because it's important that they take control of what they're trying to achieve by doing something that will make a difference. So it's how we manage that for the children and the young people so that they do make that difference that we all want to make. And every bit that we do is a contribution to make things better for everyone else. So that's my contribution to it, because I think it's the most important thing. Because I ask, when I go to planning meetings, when I'm representing the public, that's the first thing I ask about. And when I make my comments on planning, it's always, what are we doing to make a difference, in our locality by doing green things, and how are we doing it and how are we achieving it. And of course that will come into planning law eventually, because some of it is asked already by the planners. So everything that we do is vital, and the children's contribution is vital, because we go back to fair trade. Every child that I've been in contact in my area when I was doing fair trade, because I was a fair trade champion for the council, the group at one of the schools, they were absolutely wonderful. They wrote the cookbooks and everything, and they were in contact with people in Africa to make the difference of what they were doing, because they got the global status and everything. They know what they do, and they train the parents. And therefore, this is another way that they can train parents, and I think it's vital.
Right, Veronica, that's a really helpful point you've made, because in my head, I'm expecting the class teacher and the TA to be with the youngsters to support. But actually, listening to you, it's made me think, as well as sending in the pre-teach materials, what might be a good idea is that I have a brief half an hour session with participating schools to make sure, because I don't want this to fall flat on its face, because they're saying, oh, I'm not going to go in the car, because actually we use the cars all the time. But that's why I wanted it around the idea of needs and wants. So because I want them to be able to make a realistic pledge. I want it might only be something small, but I'd like to feel that they felt they've got the power to make a choice and a change, because all the little things gradually have a bigger impact, don't they? So I think that's a really important point. So so for all the participating schools, then I think I need to put on just a sort of half-hour twilight, making sure that we're not going to get them, we're not going to encourage children to make pledges that we can't possibly fulfill. I think that's yes.
2 years ago, the council took on a pledge to reduce single-use plastic. That Telford Wrekin Council did. So that's their pledge, to reduce the use of single-use plastic. And Jane knows full well that that's what we've been trying to achieve. And how we can measure it is another thing. How can we measure what we're doing? But it's the children. They do educate the parents. There's no two ways about it. I found that throughout all the times, as I say, I've been the champion for fair trade. This is such an enormous thing that we're all facing. Children need to understand why it is happening, and the simple things that do make the difference. Planting trees and making sure that the insects are still viable in our area by doing the right things by them. It's all these things that measure, and the fact that we turn down the heating, we lose less water. These are the simple things that we can do, and children can see the difference on that as well. There's all these simple things to make the difference, which we all can make if you choose to do that.
Veronica, can I ask you a question? How can I get in touch with you? Because as a school, and we call our RE ethics, we collect milk bottle tops, and we've got 83,000, which we do for MenCap, which are recycled and made into pellets.
Yeah.
The children then said, what about collecting plastic bottles? So we've got a company that actually sponsors us with the bins. And the council have actually allowed us to have free collection up till April, and now we've got to pay for it. But I've been fighting for years to be able to recycle and encourage the children to do these things. And I'd very much like to get in touch with you and find out how we can move forward.
.gov and Veronica.Fletcher
Yes.
.gov.uk. And my telephone number is it's on the website.
Oh, right. Okay, I'll look there. Okay.
But please do by email. And also you can contact me through Jane as well.
Right, okay, because we're the only school.
And Paige, because Paige is our member services officer. So any of those contact details would be absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
Because we're the only school that actually does anything. And we've now been doing it for 2 years.
Well, that's brilliant.
You know, and I'm finding it's very, very difficult to set things up. You know, people put obstacles in your way.
Right. Well,
that's brilliant. Thank you.
And then I can contact the relevant person at the council as well, because all these are good news stories. When the school did that with the cookbook, it was recognised because the fair trade officer for the council then did for all the schools, invited them all to take part in the cookbook for fair trade. I'm talking about for fair trade. And that was sold by the council as well, as well as the school in question was selling their own book a couple of years previously. So all these things make a difference.
We do fair trade chocolates. We have a fair trade shop as well.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Well, thank you very much. And on that point, I'm terribly sorry, Chairman. I have to leave for the parish council tonight. And I can tell you on our parish council agenda, when it comes to planning, when we consider a planning application, this is your information, we discover, we decide whether or not what we're going to ask about climate change. We look at climate change when we're doing our planning applications.
Thank you.
Well, that's a good note to end on. So thank you.
It is a good note. Thank you, Veronica.
Good night and God bless everyone.
Have a good meeting. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Jackie, listening to Mary, one of the things I'm really keen is that we try and keep our website as live as possible. And well, I hope this is the right forum to mention this. I wonder if it's worth asking Mary very kindly to write a little case study of the work that they're doing, so that when following the conference, we could have some things that schools are already doing to increase awareness. Because you know, that one of the reasons I want to do the conference with youngsters is because I know full well that's the best way to change parents' behaviours and attitudes. You know, in little ways, isn't it? But I'd like to get some more things on our website so that we've, you know, get people reading it and using it.
Yeah.
Our milk bottle collection, I know it sounds silly, but they make them into pellets, and then they actually can make children's playgrounds and things out of them. And we started off with 6,000, I think, a year ago. We've now got 85,000 milk bottle tops, and we're aiming, well, it was going to be 100,000, but I'm hoping for 200,000, which is a lot of milk bottle tops by the summer. And I've got shops, parents and everyone collecting them. So any of you people,
yes, I'll do it.
Standard milk bottle tops.
Yeah.
You know, and it has to be the ones, you know, of the normal bottles, and they can actually
I have
make
normal bottles. They're glass and they break on the doorstep.
No, these are plastic ones that you're talking about, isn't it, Mary?
About plastic, aren't you?
Yes, I was thinking about aluminium foil. It's when you said pellets, and I thought, no, you're not talking about milk bottle bottles, plastic bottles. Yes.
No,
never mind.
No, not.
Sorry, then can't help, Mary.
Anyone though, please, because we've got children in other schools. We've got people at Morrison's and all the various, the parents are sending them in. And it's 50,000 fill a bus. So
Fill a bus.
Fill a bus, my bus is 50,000.
Oh,
yes. So 100,000 is like 2 large bustles.
Okay.
I have to say, you're the only person that's measuring the capacity of a bath according to plastic milk bottle tops.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to say then on the conference? I think that the fact that we're involving pupils is very exciting, because if we can be successful with this, then it could be the start of great things, even leading to a youth forum or something eventually. So well done, yes. You for trying, Michelle.
Well, the trouble is, when you try something and if it goes wrong, if we're not careful, that's the view of things. Whereas we have to keep trying, don't we, all the time? That's why we're part of SACRE, actually. Doing our best, moving forward slowly.
Yeah, thank you. Any more questions for Michelle?
Michelle, just refresh me. When you're doing the section with the faith talks, the 20 minutes, is that including the science, or is the science coming first in the session?
No, I thought we'd start with the science, about half an hour, and then all the pupils will move into different groups to cover each of the faith workshops. So every school will have some representatives at each of the 20-minute faith workshops. I know 20 minutes isn't very long, but I'm only giving them a 10-minute break in the morning. It's really intense, right. Because I felt that I didn't think I had enough material to do a whole day. And it's the first time we've done anything like this, so I'm taking a bit of a punt. I did test out the idea with John's head, who was very positive, and one other head, and the heads have been, that I mentioned it to, have been keen. Unfortunately, we've had COVID affect everybody. So I'm nervous that actually schools will say, well, we don't have time to put this in. But because I think it's faith and it's climate science, we're addressing, the PSHE syllabus. We're addressing some of the science. We're trying to make it, we're trying to make the science concrete and understandable and tangible. And also the other thing that we're going to be hitting implicitly is this notion of how do you know where to go to get high quality, accurate facts about things. This is not, because I worry about the amount of things that they watch on things like TikTok, and anybody can stand up and spout, and all these influencers, and some of it's absolute rhubarb. And we only have to listen to Djokovic, the tennis player, saying on the BBC interview today, that he was very worried about what he puts into his body. Well, I'm very pleased that he is. But if we don't have a vaccination program, everybody that's vulnerable in our society, there's so much misinformation. So it's also trying to address that, I hope.
Yeah, no, that's lovely. Okay. And a half day, I think you're quite right to go for a half day, because trying to get schools, or anybody actually, to commit to a whole day is a real big ask if they haven't got some previous knowledge and experience of the value that it's brought. So good on you.
Well, thank you, Kathy, for volunteering to bring the Jewish point of view.
Yeah.
You're a star. Thank you. Okay, then. So should we move on to item 8?
Sorry, could I just say, Michelle, it's only 3 weeks to do this. So you've really, really got to get it out very, very quickly after half term.
Yes, and I was a slow mover in January, swamped with other things, and I'd meant it to go out sooner. So it goes out on Thursday, but I will make sure that we let schools know that if they want, well, to be honest, whoever they want to send, I'd be happy to see. It's just I felt that that there's pressure on examination groups that schools might not want to send. But I think having children at an event where they're being treated like young adults you know, even if they're in year, well, I think even if they're year 3 and 4, it's just, I didn't want it to be a primary thing. I wanted it to be primary. And my original idea was that I was going to have them working together with older students when I mentioned it to you originally, but I realised with COVID it was going to become too complicated. So this is a simpler version, but I hope giving them that opportunity. And yes, I'm panicking about the amount of time.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. We're all behind. Okay, so item.
How far?
No, we're not behind you. Okay, item 8, CPD for staff. I think I sort of put this in because I didn't want staff to get left behind, because I know that actually visits to places of worship. So I think we're thinking now that we might try and do this later on this term or summer, autumn term. You know, we've got to be realistic about it, and COVID has really sort of mucked up a lot of things for us, hasn't it?
Yes, I mean, what we've noticed at work is it's really hit our CPD programme, because quite honestly, I think our teachers, and we're really lucky that but I think schools staff are really worn out, and I'm really glad that the commitment is here, you know, coming to SACRE. So faith visits, if we can do them in the summer term, that would be great. But it's not that we've don't want to do it. It's just, you know, if you're in school teaching and planning and doing all that you're doing with the children, that's probably enough at the moment.
Yeah. Kathy?
Yeah, I was suddenly thinking of that because our synagogue still provides Zoom services. And I'm thinking, I wonder if they've done any Zoom visits where literally, if nothing else, you're having a very virtual but very interactive visit with the facilitators. I mean, certainly I can explore that, not only from the staff's point of view, but in terms of how to help expand that sort of access for the children.
That's a good idea. That's brilliant, actually.
Yeah, and I'm sure, and churches would, and other faith places of worship may well be still doing the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're on Zoom, Michelle, but Tim, can you make some comment on that? Have you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, just from an All Saints perspective, I mean, we have all the video equipment and streaming stuff, so we can do it physically from the church building. But also, All Saints was one of the faith buildings, and I think there were others who are included in the Telford 50 online building modelling project. Oh. So there is a full, you can walk. It's like a 3D model online of All Saints Church building that you can walk through. And actually, if you could probably do a guided tour using Teams or Zoom with that as a shared screen, and then me or somebody kind of talking pupils through as we guide them through the virtual tour. I mean, we're all called for youngsters. We did one last week. We did a school visit, so we're doing those. But for CPD or for a school who wanted to do a virtual visit, I know All Saints could facilitate that, and there may be other faith buildings in that project where that already exists.
Good.
Thank you. I think that's a brilliant idea. And actually, what we might want to offer as a SACRE is a bit of both. Ones where staff can go in person because you get a different feel when you go to a faith place when you go in person. But actually, thinking about costs and thinking about particularly, you know, what worries me is what we need is a form of enrichment, which is why it goes back to the conference the way I want to run that, where actually there's not a huge cost to schools, because actually it's about giving every child the chance to have these visits. So actually it might be that we keep on both things, Jackie, that we can recommend the tours, because actually you could do one of those for 15-20 minutes when you wanted to remind them about something, as well as doing the full works and you know, going as well. So I think that would be really good.
That one up.
Tim, would you be I know you're a busy person, but you seem to know what you're talking about. So would you be able to sort of connect with Michelle on that? So we could put that on the website, couldn't we?
Yeah, immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, drop me an email, Michelle. Jane's got my email address, and we'll sort something out. The mosque in Wellington, and thought, oh, can we do a church while we're in Wellington? So they went to the mosque, and they came and spent an hour with us, and went home having a good morning out, visiting 2 faith buildings, driven by their just as part of their Year 4 programme. So there are teachers and schools out there wanting to visit places of worship and taking the initiative to do so. I didn't push that at all. I just got an email.
Yeah.
Can we come and visit?
Yeah, fantastic.
So
it's a good idea doing 2 visits in one day. Yeah. Okay. I think that's all on that item then. So can we move on now to item 9? Sorry, it's you again, Michelle.
Is that the quality
Teaching
mark
units
award?
for special needs.
Oh, right. Yes, I've got it as a different number down here. I've got it at number 7. Right. I do try and listen. I might come over as somebody that doesn't, but I do try and listen. And one of the comments that was made very rightly and understandably at the end of the summer conference was that we hadn't really mentioned special schools at all. And I fully appreciate that we've just thought about the maintained school sector and not the needs of children who might have other learning requirements. So I've spoken to 3 of our special schools and to John, who's very kindly said that he would support with this. And I had one of the units for special needs pupils. Now my intention is that we do the materials and put support in so that they can access those. So sit down with Year 2s and expect them to do a problem solving question without giving them some manipulatives that they could do it. So it's thinking about that. And Southall, Horton and the Bridge have said that they'd like to be involved with that. I've backed off from doing anything further because of the pressure on schools at the moment, but that I'm hoping we can move after half term if things are calmer. If not, it'll be the summer term, because I can't. If COVID is like it was last year, then in the summer term we've got fewer people with infection. I'm happy to send the dates out, and then if you can join us, that would be great. But actually, you know, I don't want to wear everybody out on your goodwill.
I just say the materials I sent out were not my own. Lichfield Diocese have done a bit of a scheme for special schools, which I shared with Michelle. So we'll tap into some of that to help to support them.
Okay. Yeah. Tim?
Throwing someone else in the deep end now. One of the Faith Foundation governors at Holy Trinity Academy in her day job works at one of the special schools, I'm fairly sure, and she is a member at St Peter's Prisley. So if you wanted someone with some faith input and some professional knowledge of working with special needs children, she may be a good person. She's got quite a lot on her plate, but she might be good. At least ask a busy person. But I'm just thinking she might be a good person to ask.
Or what we could do, colleagues, is we could have a group of more specialist colleagues who could overlook what we're doing to see that we get the breadth there. Because of course, when I say, you know, I'm working with special schools, our special schools are very diverse, as our SEN pupils are very diverse. So we've got some children who cognitively wouldn't have any difficulty to children who actually, you know, are way below their reading age, for example. And it's but actually the messages that we want to give don't want to be watered down. It's accessing those materials and helping them do. Then I'm not a special needs teacher, but that's what I think that should be our aim. You know, in the same way that I would talk to a 5-year-old in a way a 5-year-old would understand, but I wouldn't take away what we want to talk about in terms of the faith, because otherwise you end up not doing what you should be doing, if that makes sense. I'll shut up at this point before I dig a hole and can't get out.
This is just my view, the same as having a faith. and I really use rather than, I don't know what the name should be, but Wilfrews is a bit broad. Go on, Kathy.
They do know that I'm linked to you. And we had our conference on the 3rd of February on worldviews.
Yeah.
You could have spent the whole evening with the different perspectives, speakers on
I can imagine, yeah.
worldviews. And again, that challenge, what to call it. And the funny thing is, I made a note myself for our own conference for the schools, that understanding about how you put together your own worldview.
Right.
Very, honestly, it was a very deep, complex aspect. But I think whatever one calls it, how you process and make order of things is in many ways you're influenced by all sorts of things. So, and that's the simplest version I can think to describe it.
I think that's very good, actually, because that's very.
And it wasn't therefore dominated by
local area network. Which are we part of that, Michelle?
No, I haven't spoken to anybody in the West Mids about this. There was some mention when we went to towards the latter end of last academic, particularly White, and that's not one of those. And we are doing in the council an equality and diversity audit, and I am asking schools to do it as well. It's really nice everybody's turned up tonight, Jackie, but you know, it's really important, and we can speak. We've, you know, so the more we can be inclusive, and it's really difficult because the trouble is because we have to get some more ideas, because the problem is because we look white, it's harder, isn't it? And we can only see it from our own perspective. And we've had various faith groups who've come along. I know this is off the point entirely, but this business of the workshop about, you know, so what did the one you said? So you've found your local SACRE, and it's about enabling people to feel that this is their SACRE. It's not yours and mine. You know, it's Telford SACRE, and the more we can get people involved, and it's really nice to see some new faces here. I know, Reese, you've chosen not to say anything yet. I don't know.
Reese is shadowing Jane.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So
here's me thinking we've suddenly attracted somebody younger than 40 to come and join us. And you're working. Right. Thank you, Reese. Yes, but I think it's a really difficult issue because we've got the directory, and how do we ensure that other people come and feel it's theirs, because that's what SACRE should be doing, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll be quiet.
In the end, it boils down to who you know, really, because actually, even within the Christian church itself,
looking at developing a project like that would be an opportunity with different faiths and worldviews to participate.
Good idea, John.
Well, John, if you're not careful.
No, you're not. Development project on how to make SACRE.
It was the West. So that's an employment opportunity as well.
The trouble is, I think, because of COVID, we're not doing things that I really wanted, that we'd made, you know, efforts to suggest and do that. We're caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, because on the one hand we are expecting all our schools to teach regardless of the COVID and to keep developing, but we're also taking the same pool of teachers to come and work on the SACRE things and to do an awful lot of other things. And I just don't want to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. But part of me thinks if we could write a bid, you know, I can't think of the right metaphor now, but we're almost in that position. If we don't put a bid in, we won't do it, because we haven't put a bid in, then we don't do it, sort of thing. I'm not explaining that very clearly, and that's the tension, because in a way we need to be ambitious, don't we?
Yeah.
And we need to have things in place so that we can be ambitious and achieve things. But maybe aiming for the 31st of March this year isn't a good idea. But what we should perhaps be doing is thinking about, okay, if this is an annual thing, John, then how could we use that sum of money to actually become a much more diverse SACRE and have, I see Mary's got to go, and that we actually achieve things, because if we stay as a little group of largely Christian white people, we are not meeting the needs of our children in the way that we should.
No,
You
I
know.
agree.
It's
been something that's puzzled me for the last 10 years.
But the very fact that we haven't got any other people on here means we,
you know, I think, you know, why has Shard not come tonight? Why has Shadid not come tonight? You know, all the people that we've been trying to encourage. You know, maybe that's the wrong night, but we have published the date for ages. We decided it in November, and Shadid was there then, but Shard hasn't come for a while.
No.
Yeah.
But I don't think we should be. Defeated.
Oh, absolutely not.
What about
we just keep knocking on the door, don't we?
Yeah, the thing is also, I was wondering if there was any way that from this conference there could be a display somewhere.
It will have a recording, so that can be available, and we can put.
Absolutely not. No.
And I was thinking.
But we see what happens to me is when I look at this, and I absolutely love the people that are here. Marge wasn't there, but I spoke to a lot of people, and there was one lady there who was a teacher. And
I think people being rude, they might think, oh, we're being standoffish, or we're sort of saying something, but we don't mean what we're saying.
Being able to then be involved, perhaps as somebody who shares the information around their local network and their friends and family, then being a champion or an ambassador, then thinking about coming onto the next stage and building familiarity. I suppose I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's something about us building familiarity with what SACRE does.